So removing a master cylinder on a vehicle with power brakes is a pretty easy task. You just remove the two brake lines, and then there's a nut right here, and then one straight across from it. It looks like this one actually has two, because this outer one's holding this support bracket up, and there'll be another one behind it holding the cylinder on. After those are off, this will just pull right out. Now if you're working on something with manual brakes, that presents a new challenge, because the rod inside the master cylinder goes underneath the dash and bolts to the brake pedal. So you got to go under the dash to disconnect that. But power brakes makes it easier. So grab a couple wrenches. Okay, and I already got the back one pulled. And now it'll just pull out. That's all there is to it. And putting the new one on, it's just as simple. Put it back in place and put the nuts back on. bring you right back. Okay, the new one's bolted in place. I have not hooked up the brake lines yet because I'll have to bench bleed this master before I hook those up. Not too many years ago, master cylinder manufacturers used to include a little kit in there to hook your lines up to your reservoir so you could self-bleed them. But I guess the bean counter said no, you can save 12 cents by not doing that. So now we're left to fend for our own. Fend for ourselves. Okay, it's done. I got the master cylinder bled installed, hooked up, got all four wheels bled, took it for a little drive around the block. Brakes are working excellent, so that's a wrap on this job. Not too much action in this last part, I'm sorry, but there's just not much to see watching somebody bleed brakes. It takes forever anyway without filming. Something I did want to point out though, I made a mistake. When I had the calipers out, this is an issue I should have taken care of at that time. So you know I replaced one wheel cylinder on this truck. Well, that was the only bleeder on this truck that I could bleed from. The rest of them were totally plugged up. The other wheel cylinder, I just robbed the bleeder out of this one and put the old one in here. But what I did for the calipers is what you'd have to do too, and what I should have done when I had them apart. Take this screw out and you can see, well, yeah, barely, that little indentation. That's supposed to be a through hole into the center of this, and that's another hole that goes that deep, and that's how it bleeds. You open it up, the air purges through that hole, comes out here with the fluid. Well, this is so full of mud and rust that it wasn't having it. So the front ones I took off, got a small drill bit, cleaned all the mud and rust out of there, and then got a probe and cleaned up that hole there. So I then had a through passage from down here to up here. Then I was able to bleed both calipers successfully. So not a big deal, it just would have been convenient when I had it all apart if I thought of that. It's not an uncommon problem for older vehicles to get that gunk in there. So that's it. It's done. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later. I just realized something I should have said, so I'll insert this in the middle of that last statement. When I cleaned that out with a drill bit, I did not have it on a drill. I did not try to drill that through. So I just used a drill bit in my fingers and worked it around in there and got the dirt and rust out. I don't think you'd want to really power drill that because you could screw it up or screw your fingers up. Just thought I'd clarify that. Thanks again.